What's going on, everyone? So Brian Windhorst recently said, I don't think under any circumstances he was ever considering extending this season, and I think the Cavs knew that when they traded for him. Windhorst said, I think the pressure point comes a year from now when he's got 1 year left on his contract. And of course, they're talking about Donovan Mitchell. The Cleveland Cavaliers are looking to try to extend Donovan Mitchell, and it doesn't look like he's interested at this time. Problem is, and the concern is, that many believe Donovan Mitchell doesn't want to re-sign, period, and that he's not going to be looked to extend. And that's kind of what Brian Windhorst is alluding to here, which is like, the pressure point is next season, because if they don't win the NBA championship or at least have like a really good season where they're close, then does Donovan Mitchell look at it as like, I'm basically on another Utah and I want to go to a big market in a big city and would rather go that route and ends up leaving, or the Cavs end up having to trade Donovan Mitchell. Now, the Cavs didn't really sell the farm for Donovan Mitchell, right? Like, they gave up Sexton, who they were considering just letting walk. Like, they weren't even really considering signing him at all. So they didn't really lose anything there. Lauri Markkanen, like that, I'm sure hurt, but who knew that he was going to turn into the guy that he became? But you still got Donovan Mitchell, and he was great last year. So, if you're the Cavs, even if you have to trade him, you probably could get more than you gave for him. But obviously, the Cavs would like to keep him and extend him and have him here long term with their young core, with their young roster, and try to, win an NBA championship. Especially if guys continue to grow and develop and they get more sort of experience under their belt, and guys get a little more mature, right? Like if you can get some of these younger guys in general, like Darius Garland, can he evolve? Can you get a Jared Allen and Evan Mobley? These guys who are just very young, who are only going to continue to improve, only continue to get better. If those guys can kind of round into form, then I think that the Cavs could be a real threat in a couple years, right? So having Donovan Mitchell stick around long term, I think would be great. The problem is there's a little concern about how Garland and Mitchell fit, right? And like, do you end up having to move off of one of them? And which one would they choose? Which, I mean, next year it's very possible that Donovan Mitchell makes that decision for them. It's very possible that Donovan Mitchell makes that decision for him. But I mean, even last year there were the rumors and stuff about like the Cavs may potentially look to trade Garland to keep Donovan Mitchell. Now you need to make sure you get Donovan Mitchell locked up, because if he ends up wanting out and he's like, I'm not going to sign an extension, then now you're in a position where you have to trade him, and the last thing you want to do is upset Garland, right? But ideally, if you can keep Mitchell, he's still only 26 years old, so he's still got a lot of basketball ahead of him. And can be an elite scorer. But you have to have the right team around him, right? They really do. They're going to have to continue to add the right pieces, have the right core. But where is his mind at? He wanted the Knicks. That was where he wanted to go. That's where he thought he was going to go. And then you had the Utah Jazz kind of out of left field end up trading him to the Cavs, and even took a lesser package to trade him to the Cavs. But Donovan Mitchell was very open about him wanting to be a Knick. I mean, he was even at like Knick games, at courtside stuff. Like, the dude wanted to be a Knick. And so does he look at it as like, I got to ride this out for one more year, get through this year, and then I can kind of tell them like, hey, I'm not signing an extension, trade me. And the, trade demand, I don't think he'll go public with it, because he didn't even do that with Utah, right? Like, it was pretty obvious. The writing was on the wall. You knew it was coming. But, like, there wasn't this, like, public trade demand from Donovan Mitchell. All the reports were like, Donovan Mitchell is just chilling, right? He's waiting to see what happens. Like, and then ultimately they ended up trading. But there were people that were like, they had a conversation behind the scenes and both agreed, like, it's time to go. I could see something like that happening with the Cavs, where Donovan Mitchell just goes to them and says, hey, like, look, I know you want to extend me. I'm not looking to extend here. Trade me, get what you can. I want to go to the Knicks. If you can send me to the Knicks, that would be great. Send me there. Get what you can for me. You could probably get a bigger package than what you got from, or what you gave up for me. So I could see something like that. It just, is that what's on Donovan Mitchell's mind? I think it's going to come down to how do the Cavs look, right? Are the Cavs really good this year? I think they're going to be one of the better teams, but can they go beyond what they did last year, right? Like, losing to the Knicks, I'm sure didn't help. Probably stunned. And then, he was like, I could have been on that roster. We could have been with that team. And, who knows what would have happened. So, but if the Cavs, if they make the Eastern Conference Finals and, lose to, Milwaukee in a tough 7 or something like that, then does Donovan Mitchell say, all right, let me ride it out this year and see? Right? Let me see where it goes. But even then, if he's not willing to sign an extension, do the Cavs panic and say, oh, well, we don't want to just lose him, right? We don't want to just end up getting to a point where he ends up we don't win and he's like, all right, I'm out, right? And now we get nothing for him. Granted, like I said, you didn't give up a ton for him, but still, you don't want to just trade for Donovan Mitchell for 2 years and then that's that, and you let, at the time, what would be that time, a 28-year-old just go, right? You want to get something of value for him. And a team like the Knicks they were willing to offer quite a decent package for him to begin with. They'd probably do the same thing, which I don't understand from a Knicks perspective at all. I don't think Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson make any sense whatsoever. But for whatever reason, the Knicks seem to really want that. 2 undersized guards, that are both kind of are similar players. I don't know. I'm not I'm not a Knicks fan, but it seems like a Knicks thing that they would do. However, the Knicks have been making good decisions, right? They could have traded for Paul George and decided it was too rich, so they didn't. So, maybe they changed the perspective, which if the Knicks end up saying nah, we're good on Donovan Mitchell, then what does Donovan Mitchell do, right? Does he try to force himself to, I don't know, a bigger market team, right? Does he try to go to the Lakers or something like that? Because it's clear he wants a big market. And if it's not the Knicks, then it's where else? Where else is he going to go? What other market is he going to go to? Is he going to try to go to Brooklyn or something like that? Is he going to go to the Clippers? Right? I don't know. But regardless, Donovan Mitchell was fantastic for the Cavs. He's very likely going to continue to be fantastic for the Cavs. And it's in the Cavs' best interest to keep him long-term. Because, you have this very good young team. In 3 years, the Cavs might be the best team in the league. Depending on how Evan Mobley continues to evolve and develop, you got great young pieces that you could trade if you need to. The Cavs are in a very good position, right? They're in a very, they can go multiple directions if need be. But you got to get your star locked in, and you got to get him believing and ready. Donovan Mitchell's not going to not show up or anything like that, but you want him committed to the team. You don't want that is he in, is he out? And plus, that just weighs on everybody, right? It might not this year. This year, I don't think it'll be a big concern, right? But next year, it very well could. Right, where you have just those looming trades, request, or you got is he want out? Does he want to stay? You feel that weight, and yes, you usually see it translate, right? You usually see things just not really go very well, right? That's one of the big things with Portland. It's one of the reasons why I think Portland needs to just trade Damian Lillard already, because it's just. Do you really want to go into the season with that looming over your roster? At what point does Dame end up getting traded? Does he get traded at all? You have your head coach one night he's am I game planning for Dame tonight or am I not? What am I doing? And then not just that, but you have Scoot Henderson who thinks okay, this year is my year. I get to be the guy, and now you got to tell him no, it's Dame's the guy. You get to be second fiddle. Simons, you thought you were going to start. No, you're coming off the bench. It just throws a real wrench into everything. right? Where you're just better off just cutting the weight and moving on. Same thing with the Cavs, right? If it comes to that with Donovan Mitchell, it's probably in your best interest to just cut the weight and move on, right? Get the best return possible and just don't have that looming to where it's like, is he signing an extension? Is he not? Is it the last year with him on the roster? It becomes a mess. And then you end up putting yourself in a position where it's like, well, how do we replace him, right? It's not like Cleveland's this huge free agent destination and, salary cap space. You got to pay all these young guys and all that stuff. So it's a very tricky spot for the Cavs to be in. But time will tell. We'll see. We'll see how this develops. But it's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting that this is kind of being brought up now. And it could just be, slow news cycles. Or it could be like, hey, maybe there is something here. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think of Donovan Mitchell? Do you think that Donovan Mitchell is going to stay with the Cavs? Do you think that they work out an extension? Do you think no, he ends up demanding a trade, before he's extension eligible, so that way he can, get that extension with the new team? Like, how do you think it plays out? What do you think? If I had to bet on it, if I had to guess, I think he leaves the Cavs. I do. I just really do. I don't think he wanted to be a Cav to begin with. I don't think he wanted to go there to begin with. And I think he'll honor his contract. He'll play through it. He'll give 110%. But I think as soon as he has the opportunity to get out, I think he'll get out. That's just kind of my thoughts. But do you feel the same way? Love to hear it. Let me know down